The Biden campaign this morning returned to an active crime scene. The sub-zero Manhattan courthouse, where Democrats have been pinning Trump down with a political ankle monitor. The criminal brought with him his co-conspirators, old men in black. Punchy Bobby De Niro, wearing a mask, still trying to slow the spread of populism.
Niro, there's something about being a star where you think your opinion's more important than anybody else's, and you can go give a press conference, and he obviously has been very vocal from 2016 that he hates Trump for whatever reason. Maybe they have some personal thing.
You think Trump ever threw a punch himself or took one? This guy who ran and hid in the White House bunker when there were protesters outside.
Powerful man in the world sent an actor who plays a mob boss to intimidate the jury before deliberations. Watch.
The Twin Towers fell just over here, just over there. This part of the city was like a ghost town.
Press conferences. Now everyone's heckling him everywhere he goes.
That's so bad.
Like instead of just being this cranky old liberal, now you're this guy that is yelling at other people that are Trump supporters, and they're yelling at you. Like you've opened yourself up to this nonsense. Why?
Trying to be gentlemen in this world. The Democrats, you are gangsters. You are gangsters.
Now, every movie you go to, 50% of the population is going to not want to go see that movie.
Biden made an actor read a script in Lower Manhattan saying his opponent is worse than 9/11. And then the actor slipped and went off script and admitted he's trying to scare you. In politics, you can't admit you're trying to scare voters. It's not the movies. But watch what happens when there is no script.
What's your response to Republicans who say you're running on January 6th because you can't run on Biden's record?
I'd say that's absolutely
The thing for people in Hollywood that are entrenched in that world is to shut the because as soon as they start talking, people as soon as Robert De Niro starts talking, I'm like, Jesus, get that microphone away from him so I can enjoy Taxi Driver.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I don't want to hear. I love De Niro. I love those mob movies. It's like
I don't want to hear him that he's a moron. I don't want to hear him talking about politics and about Trump supporters, and just shut the up, man.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't think this through. Like, this is, and he's getting yelled at. He's doing an outside press conference. Like, Robert, you're 80 years old. Don't ruin this thing. You've had this life where you were a raging bull. You know, you were you were in The Godfather. Like, stop doing this.
Man.
Don't do this.
Boring interview. He used to sell his movies on Leno and Letterman, and it was like watching a WNBA game. You just were bored to death. All of a sudden, Trump became president, and he started saying things. I want to punch the president in the face. You know, he's a crooked piece of. And then all of a sudden, De Niro became interesting during his media tours, and that's the only way now he can get publicity for his film, is by cursing and saying whatever he says. The movie's Ezra.
So locked up because she's a complete and total idiot. But that's not.
She's in a pretty contest.
Not only, but that's not just that, dude. Anybody could get locked up like that. You're on stage in front of people with TV cameras pointed at you. You've never experienced that in your life, and you have a panic attack. It doesn't mean you're an idiot, and that's also Robert De Niro.
Coming up in November, how do you decide who you're voting for?
The economy.
Whoever tells it how it is. I think about who's better looking.
How handsome am I, right? How handsome?
Actor Robert De Niro says you must vote for Joe Biden or else.
Or else what?
Or else the country is going to be destroyed.
We're in great shape now, right? We're doing great.
It might be destroyed.
Was the country destroyed the first time?
It was on the verge, yes.
How?
Well, it's a secret.
Never rat on your friends, and always keep your mouth shut.
I think I might vote for Joe Biden if Robert De Niro said it. I'm not gonna lie, he's one of my favorite actors.
If he pays me, I don't know, $1 million.
Where's the Robert De Niro about is two things: awesome movies and divorce.
Yeah.
Like, tell me what happened to you.
I would love to ask
with
about
the
that.
divorce. Tell me what happened if you want to talk about it, and tell me what happened to you with these awesome fucking movies. I don't need to know jack shit about his politics.
Well, he doesn't. That's the thing. He just tells you he feels a way. That's all he's got to say.
Yeah, but it's almost unfair to have a guy like that on a public show and talk to him about politics.
Do you know what it reminds me of? When the beauty...
Robert De Niro erupts after Joe Rogan and Jesse Watters destroy him on live TV. That headline alone sounds like the climax of a blockbuster, right? But buckle up, because the real-life drama that played out in downtown Manhattan turned out to be wilder, funnier, and oddly more heartbreaking than any scene De Niro ever shot on a Hollywood backlot. It started at sunrise outside the Trump trial courthouse, a spot that's become less a legal venue and more a political carnival. De Niro, masked up and flanked by campaign staffers, strode to the microphones like a general ready for battle. He called Trump a threat worse than 9/11, tried to frighten passers-by with talk of destroyed democracies, and generally acted like the godfather of gloom. Cameras clicked, aides nodded, but the crowd, half of them just pulled out phones, waiting for the next viral spectacle. Meanwhile, a few blocks away, Joe Rogan sat in his podcast studio staring at the live feed with that raised eyebrow grin he gets whenever human behavior turns into self-parody. Rogan's first words weren't fury, they were confusion. How, he wondered aloud, does a man who once intimidated audiences with a single glare now need a bullhorn to feel powerful? He compared De Niro's grandstanding to a gorilla solving a Rubik's Cube. Fascinating, unexpected, and completely disconnected from everyday reality. With every fresh clip Rogan replayed, his listeners could almost hear the squelch of legacy colliding with cringe. Enter Jesse Watters, Fox News resident satirist, who gleefully pounced on the spectacle during prime time. Where Rogan used head-shaking disbelief, Watters used razor-sharp irony. He rolled clips of De Niro's old mob roles, then cut to Grandpa Bobby scolding MAGA hat wearers like a cranky crossing guard. Watters quipped that tough guys don't have to announce their toughness, they just are. The studio audience laughed, but the bigger punch landed when he asked, if De Niro really believes America teeters on the brink, why does he sound like an actor reading stage directions from a script only he can see? Back at the courthouse, De Niro forged ahead, unaware that the cultural wrecking crew was dismantling his performance in real time. He tried a dramatic pause, gazed toward ground zero, and invoked the fallen Twin Towers. It was supposed to be solemn. Instead, the moment crashed under the weight of its own theatrics, like someone reciting Shakespeare at a taco stand. Onlookers booed, a few shouted, "Stick to movies," and the mask came off, literally. De Niro's frustration flashed, his voice cracked, and the aura of Hollywood invincibility leaked away in seconds. Rogan, streaming the chaos for millions, leaned closer to the mic. He didn't gloat, he pleaded, "Robert man, you were raging bull, don't become raging boomer." The comment exploded online because it was equal parts joke and genuine concern. Rogan argued that actors make magic by disappearing into roles, but the second they treat those roles as moral credentials, the illusion collapses. De Niro wasn't defending democracy, he was auditioning for relevance, and the audience could smell it. Watters doubled down, producing a montage of De Niro's recent interviews, each sentence a maze of half-formed grievances. One night, the veteran star demanded unity, the next, he trashed half the electorate as fools. Watters' punchline, "That's not a message, that's a Yelp review with extra foam." It stung because it captured the incoherence everyone sensed but hadn't worded so cleanly. Even liberal commentators admitted the stunt fell flat. Morning talk shows pivoted from praising De Niro's courage to questioning his judgment, which only deepened the bruise. At this point, the court of public opinion reached critical mass. Clips of Rogan's bewilderment and Watters' roast raced across social feeds faster than any campaign talking point. Memes bloomed. Taxi driver Bobby shouting at pigeons, Godfather Bobby lecturing coffee baristas about democracy. Each joke chipped away another layer of gravitas until only a frazzled man with a megaphone remained. But here's where the story turns reflective rather than cruel. Rogan, ever the philosopher comic, used his closing segment to ask why society keeps putting entertainers on policy pedestals. He blamed a feedback loop, social media rewards outrage, celebrities chase clicks, audiences react, and nuance dies a quick death. His advice to De Niro was simple: step back, breathe, let the work speak again. The podcast ended not with a victory lap, but with a sigh. Another childhood hero melting under the Klieg lights of perpetual outrage. Watters, in contrast, finished his show with theatrical flair. He simulated an Oscar night where the award for Best Midlife Meltdown goes to Robert De Niro, complete with fake envelope and canned applause. It was savage, hilarious, and oddly cathartic, yet even he slipped in a final note of empathy. Greatness doesn't vanish overnight, but it can drown in its own echo chamber if no one whispers, cut. And what of De Niro? Insiders say he left the courthouse stunned by the mixed reaction, convinced the boos were planted. Friends urged a quiet ride home. Instead, he made one last unscripted stop, a corner deli where a teen cashier recognized him and asked for a selfie. De Niro obliged, but before leaving, he blurted, "Stay angry, kid." The line might have sounded cool in a movie, yet in real life, it felt like an accidental confession. Anger is the only fuel he trusts now. By nightfall, the narrative was no longer about Trump, Biden, or any trial. It was about fame, hubris, and the strange modern ritual where icons torch their own legacies in public squares. Comment sections lit up with viewers echoing Rogan's plea, "Can't we just enjoy Taxi Driver again without political footnotes?" Others sided with Watters, treating the episode as proof that Hollywood elites are out of touch. De Niro, once the king of stone-faced menace, had united both camps in a shared cringe. The morning after, talk radio hosts played Rogan's raging boomer quip on repeat while late-night comics borrowed Watters' Oscar gag. De Niro's PR team reportedly scrambled, weighing whether a heartfelt apology or dignified silence would salvage more dignity. Neither answer felt satisfying because the damage wasn't a single misquote. It was the exposure of a longer slide from stoic craftsman to shouty pundit. In the end, the courthouse stunt became a cultural cautionary tale. For celebrities, microphone access is effortless. Credibility isn't. For audiences, the temptation to treat actors like philosophers is powerful. Disappointment is inevitable. And for pundits like Rogan and Watters, scoring viral jabs is easy. Delivering a thoughtful message beneath the humor is the real art. This time they nailed it. So what remains after the viral tide recedes? De Niro still possesses the talent that once left cinema audiences breathless. Rogan still hosts marathon conversations that prize curiosity over theatrics. Watters will keep slicing hypocrisy with a smile. The lesson is ours to keep. If even a screen titan can morph into a meme by mistaking volume for virtue, maybe the rest of us should think twice before we let rage write our lines. Because unlike Hollywood scripts, real life doesn't hand out stunt doubles. Yet the saga didn't fade. The internet kept it spinning. Within a day, reaction videos cropped up everywhere. One creator slowed De Niro's courthouse rant like a sports replay. Another spliced the speech with taxi horns for parody, and a third overlaid Rogan's raging boomer line on a looping clip. Each upload drew thousands. Proof of Rogan's point that in 2025, a meltdown isn't a moment, it's a meme that walks on its own. Campaign strategists tallied the damage. Even progressive aides confessed off record that the stunt swayed 0 undecideds, while conservative ad teams gleefully clipped De Niro snarling gangsters for swing state spots. The real-time lesson? Authentic talk beats star power when voters sniff a script. Rogan later revisited the episode with a psychologist guest, exploring how fame can freeze personal growth. They talked echo chambers, dopamine loops, and why applause feels like wisdom until it doesn't. Listeners flooded comments with stories of relatives lost in outrage tunnels. Whether De Niro recalibrates or doubles down is unknown. What's clear, the next time he grabs a mic, millions will be listening, not for guidance, but for the sequel.